Hey there friends, I'm Andrew from the Scrap Box, and today we're finishing taking the secret of the Mimic and turning it into Lego creations. Last week, we made the first big boss of the game, Jackie, and we also made the old iteration of the Mimic and some little extras. Today, we're gonna finish up the whole game by taking all the other bosses and creating them in Lego as well. Before we build any of the bosses though, none of this game would be possible without our main protagonist, Arnold. Is Arnold just a pair of arms in the game? Sure. So technically, our work is complete. But that's boring. However, we could use our detective skills to guess what he actually looks like. As you can see from the other employees who are sleeping on the job, every Fazbear Repo Man wears the same outfit, which means Arnold is also probably wearing dark blue pants and boots. Hang in there, champ. We'll use these dark blue legs for a start. People who handle industrial equipment, work with power grids, and move large objects normally need a high-vis vest. Plus, it's hilarious to think of Arnold trying to hide while wearing clothing designed to be seen. We don't know Arnold's face, but we do know his voice.
What?
That's Kellen Goff. To match, we could pick this Captain America hairstyle, then give Arnold the sweet, naive face of someone who would definitely find themselves up to their waist in Fazgoo. Plus, he has this perfectly terrified face that he wears the entire night. Pretty good work, detective. Now we have an Arnold ready to face any monstrosity, unless he can't get past the puzzles. Some of those are tricky. This looks like a minifigure who would definitely risk their limbs for their job. I'm so sorry, Arnold. I'm so sorry for what we did to you. We already did Jackie last week, so the next big boss that Arnold has to face is Big Top. That's right, the ancient music man. And boy, does Big Top love his tickets.
He's too big! How am I gonna make it? He's so large! How?
Well, when making something to scale, it's best to start with something you know. For instance, I've seen a good amount of ticket booths in my time and can pretty accurately guess how big it is and scale the rest of Big Top to fit. There's just one issue. This ticket booth has 5 sides.
That's disgusting!
In Lego, you could build double sides, use this piece for 3 sides, 4, 6, 8, you're covered. But 5? But just like Arnold, we too must be brave and try to solve this terrifying ticket booth. This is gonna suck. Yeah, that's gonna be way too big. So, back to the drawing board. This took so much longer than I thought it would. But the bottom is nice. It's all secure. There's little gears inside. I'm not putting the tiny arms because, no, I am putting the big arms, and this was really difficult to figure out. But it is all secure. It is one solid piece that won't break apart. Now, I started Big Top right when the game came out, so I had to use screenshots for references. And this led me to believe that the booth was red. Now that the models are out, I could see the ticket booth is a medium nougat color, but I'm not changing it. Specifically because there's lots of pieces not available in nougat, and this guy was an incredibly complex build. I'm not taking them apart. So, our ticket booth is complete. Now I just gotta make the rest of him. Look, it's the perfect size. I'm not stalling, you're stalling. His arms come in 3 segments. The smallest one will be right here. They'll look like this. Now I have a bunch of these old pieces, which look like girders on the sides, so we're gonna use them as such. Otherwise, I'll never use these Bionicle pieces. Was that a kazoo? Legs are done. This is definitely giving the diamonds palanquins from Steven Universe. But let's make the feet. Design 1 looks great, but it's very part intensive. I don't think I have enough of those little rounded clips. Another con is it doesn't make a closed fist, but it does have all the joints. Design 2 is simple, but it's missing the finger joints, which makes me sad. Design 3 needs everything to be perfectly aligned in order for it to function at all, which is the Murray model of invention, but I don't know. Design 4 sucks. So I went with Design 1, mostly because it was cool, I liked it the most. Do I have enough bar clips? No. Just don't look at the miscolored 2 in the back and everything will be fine. Hold on just a second. I had to go to 2 secondhand Lego stores just to find one clip. But wait, there's more. I don't know what this is. How does this help? Oh, it doesn't? Okay. Guess we just got one weird one then. Moving on to the head, it took me a little bit to find some good teeth for Big Top, but I think I'm gonna go with these ones. And these tiles will be the eyes. The decals are stickers, I didn't apply them, and I'm too afraid to peel them off, because if I ruin it, then it's game over for the entire face. Still, the whole thing came together surprisingly well. For the hat, I could have just done a red ribbon, but he does have lights that go all the way around. And now that the rest of the hat is complete, let's take a final look at Big Top.
Tickets, please. 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 Tickets, please.
Yes, I did cave and gave him some extra little arms, but I am so happy with him. I'm also impressed that I got him to fit on the turntable. If Barf and Belch can do it, so can Big Top.
Subscription, please.
Oh, don't mind if I do. Thank you? I think Big Top is... I say this a lot, but I think Big Top is my favorite creation that I've made in quite some time. Besides that one. After Big Top takes a little bit of a stumble, you've got a peculiar sort of boss. This time, you don't have to outmaneuver the Mimic in a mascot or animatronic suit. This time, you're in the suit. That's right, we're gonna make Captain Springlock. I'm just gonna call him the Captain. This Captain reminds me of another large bearded character already in LEGO, Hagrid. But he's gonna need some heavy modifications in Blender. Every Blender project starts with a cube that must be destroyed. Cursed cube, be gone! Well, okay then. Now we can insert our Hagrid head. We actually want to get rid of the mouth hole and make the eye opening the mouth hole for the captain. That way Arnold can peek through the mouth just like in the game. One of the main reasons I chose the Hagrid head mold instead of a regular beard is this beard is designed to sit over a larger figure body, which is going to be useful for later. This head sculpt was quite fun to make, and was also quite the refresher. I was doing my best to use basic shapes at first, and then worry about the fine details later, which is good when you're sculpting. However, it did lead to some questionable shapes before everything was finally settled into place.
It was a great idea to get around the sensors.
I did get a chance to make the octopus on top, however he is flatter than in the game as I feared his head would make the already tall figure look way too tall. But with his head figured out, we've gotta make a wearable Springlock suit for Arnold. Easy, right? Actually, yeah. LEGO has these old armor vest pieces that cover most of the torso, so all I had to do was build them out a little bit to fully cover the body without hindering the arms. Speaking of the arms, I've done huge beefy arm attachments before, but I wanted to see if I could make something between a Venom and a normal figure. I probably should have just stopped with a plain mold, but I couldn't help but sculpt some robotic ridges for the shoulder and elbow.
Nice!
The last thing the captain needs is his cannon, and it pretty much looks like a 1x1 cone, so I try to make a hand attachment that merges with the cone. The first one was okay, but later I just ended up cutting out a hand section of the cone and put a bar inside. With my collection complete, I sent those models off to the resin printer. And while they printed, I drew up some torso decals that I'm going to attempt to print directly on the resin sculpts. Who is giving this captain so many ribbons?
A little bit much.
Okay, the printing is done and it's time to see if our arms work. Good news and bad news. Good news is it looks great from the front. The bad news is the resin is too stiff and it cracked when being put on the arm. Oh. Luckily, I just purchased this new ABS-like resin from Elegoo. It's designed to be more like ABS plastic, which is what Lego is made of. So theoretically, it should make it both stronger and more flexible. I'm also going to readjust the elbow of the mold to help alleviate any stress in the future. Alright, take 2, let's go. Nice. One of the biggest differences already is the way the model feels. It feels like one of those model kit pieces, which is good because those are ABS plastic as well. But the real test is, will the arms hold? They do, and they hold well, as I push and pried on them a lot and they didn't even crack or break. Okay, Elegoo, I see ya, well done. As for the prints, the front of the torso came out amazingly, the back came out okay, but I always forget to sand. And now it's time for Arnold to suit up so we could take a look at Captain Springlock. For a completely out there idea, he turned out very nicely. While my paint skills are still far from good, they're still slowly improving. The cannon arm looks really good, it fits firmly in place, however the gauntlet piece is too big for his other arm, and I also couldn't fit the vest and the epaulets at the same time. As for the legs, I just gave him silver legs and brackets with big boots. There's only so much you can do with a Lego figure's articulation, but frankly they totally ignore the legs when you get in the suit in the game, so I'm not too worried. My last little complaint is the eyes do reach the opening, but I foolishly put a bunch of big teeth right in front of them. Now, it sounds like I'm complaining a lot, but I'm just complaining about little details because all the major things work. The vest, the head print, the arm molds, even the cannon are all fantastic. So overall, I give our captain a solid B, which stands for better be ready to fire, we've got incoming. As fun as it is to be the captain, we all know where that gets us, in Nurse Dolly's care. And Nurse Dolly, scary. So let's make her. Dolly is what we call an avalanche of good intentions. Since Dolly can be worn by the Mimic, I wanted to make her using the same method as I made the captain. Her torso will be printed on a wearable vest, she'll have molded arms and a mask, that sort of thing. Dolly's decals turned out pretty well, though Lego doesn't have a perfect color match, so I went with a standard green. Also like the captain, Dolly will use her own legs, but of course I'm making decals for these as well because I don't think we're gonna find a purist torn doll legs with robot feet coming out the bottom print in the Lego catalog. Also made standard Dolly eyes for a blank head print that'll go under her mask when she's herself. I've printed a skirt for her to wear, and then I begin the head sculpt. Initially, I wanted to make a generic mascot head that could be used for many different Fazbear projects in the future. And it works well. It's made out of a swamp monster mask and a castle helmet. It's everything after this that falls apart. However, a great way to help me hone my skills is by supporting me on Patreon. It's because of my members that I can make all these cool, interesting, and sometimes terrifying projects. Without them, none of this would be possible. Patreon members gain access to my decals, 3D models, instructions, and even more. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. You truly are the data driver granting me access to a better future. Okay. This sculpt has all the parts of Dolly, but it honestly looks more akin to Circus Baby than Dolly herself. But the show must go on, so after everything was printed and painted, we're left with Nurse Dolly. Honestly, okay, it's not bad. The parts individually all work really well. It's just when you put them together, it's Dolly, but ever so slightly off. Huh. Also, I think it'd look much better if the eyes were further apart. I will do my best not to throw this one into a bunch of liquid metal, but no promises. She's definitely terrifying enough to do so. After Dolly, you're good. Well, that is until you go into the underground tunnels, where you will face the white tiger. Now, did I do a whole bunch of work to make a white tiger suit? Yes. Did I design, print, and paint a bunch of pieces just for it? Also yes. Did I forget to make sure the suit actually fits together in the real world before putting in all this effort? Yes. Turns out the claws are huge and the vest can't be worn when the tail is on. Will I cry about it? Maybe. What's it to you? I did so good on that tiger mask too. Bummer. It's a learning experience. Last but not least, you have to face the mimic itself. But before we get to the mimic, I do want to touch on a few things from last video. Nobody solved my secret challenge yet. A lot of you passed the test, a lot of you failed the test. And I think that really shows why people don't like to work with the FNAF community. Now there is one secret boss, the most important boss of all. The Kenovvac. That's right, you're like, Andrew, that's not a boss. Yes, it is. If you don't pet every single Kenovvac you see, you have failed the game. Absolutely. That's just the way they keep score. Obviously, I'm joking, but I loved the little vacuum so much, I just had to create him myself. The Kenovvac is a tricky one because it's so compact, it's nearly impossible to add a body, arms, head, cleaner, etc. while still keeping its scale. I ended up making 3 iterations of the Kenovvac. The first one I really liked, and it had cute rollerblade wheels, but the brackets in the front are slightly under stress, and the arms are millimeters away from falling out of the sockets. The second one is much simpler, but it loses all the charm and can't even hold a dustpan. Which led me to my final design, which combines the two. It has studs for wheels, but it has just enough space for all of its parts. Even better, I designed some decals for its face and torso, and now I can have the cutest little vacuum cleaning up all my terrible messes. Now you might be wondering, where's this character? Where's that character? Where's so-and-so? If they weren't bosses, I'm not gonna make them. Bosses being defined as you needed to face them in order to continue the game. Chica's not a boss. Chica's basically just another one of the costumes that meanders around. You want me to make the Murrays? Okay, real quick, I'll make the Murrays. There they are. Happy? Well, maybe. Look, I didn't see a body in that house, and somebody has to build the mixes for Ruin, so maybe the Mimic DLC will have a cyborg Edwin. Who knows? I don't know what you expected. That's on you. But now, let's take a look at the Mimic. This is the Mimic I designed last time, and I was kind of bummed that I made it with a custom head because I know you all wanted to make your own Mimics, so for this Mimic, I made it full purist Lego. First, we've got our tall, angry Mimic, who is made primarily with wither skeleton limbs, as well as an angry Ultron head. But the reason I use these pieces as a design is because you can also make this Mimic, which looks like it has all the same parts, just in a smaller David form. Is it too late to warn people about spoilers? Yeah, probably. But you clicked this video, so that's on you. I think their simple designs work incredibly well, and honestly, I'm happy with it. And there you have it. We've made all of the main bosses from the game. We made a bunch of little extras. I personally loved this game, but I want to know what you want to see next. Especially with this video coming to a close, a video that definitely has no secrets in it. Anyways, as always, I've been Andrew, you've been watching the Scrapbox. Do all the YouTube things like comment, subscribe, and have yourself a wonderful day. Just don't work for Fazbear Entertainment. Solid daily advice. Alright, bye.